So POIs verbally and no preferred pronouns. My speech will start in 3, 2, and okay, so my speech will start now. The point of art in general is to help an artist express his or her ideas to the public. It's important to note that artists don't just create a piece of art for no apparent reasons. Their art mostly resonates with their life or societal views or certain issues, and we believe that the proposition side is taking this problem too easily by thinking that we can just create a random piece of art and waiting for the government to commission our own art. Take the example of the nude Maya. This represents how society actually viewed women in the past. Even though this painting sparks debate and is controversial, and some might even view this as inappropriate, this painting is actually extremely important due to the fact that it changed how society viewed women, leading to less things such as objectifying women or marginalization against them as a whole. And both teams' goal in this debate is to create better art that change the world. And our team believes we do it better by looking at the more practical side of the debate. So secondly, coming straight to the responses and also the rebuild. We believe that proposition is being too extreme with their arguments, and they have never mentioned or at least name or give us any real-life examples of offensive art that has actually brought harm to children themselves, and we'll explain this further coming up. First of all, they said to it that this is not inclusive in society and not many people prefer this kind of art. It is important to note that graffiti or vandalism and offensive art are two completely different things, and not every single art can be put in a museum. Because who are the ones who commission for arts to be put in museums and parks? The government is the one behind the scheme, and therefore you cannot just create a random piece of art without any meanings and history and hope to be commissioned in a museum by the government. Well, proposition said to it that the government has had a history of making bad decisions in the past, but we believe that when it comes to producing art for the general public, they must do something, and this art has to be meaningful. If you are just like a random artist who is not very popular and does not really gain massive attention, then your art is less likely to be put in a museum, because in order for an art to put in a museum, it has to have meanings and the history behind the art as well. And we believe that the artist has their own intention when they create any piece of art, given that it can be anything in life. And the government has commissioned a lot of art that sparks controversy in the past, and we believe that they have their reasons to do so. They also said to it that kids cannot completely understand the meanings behind those offensive art. Believe it or not, even us as teenagers, and we believe the proposition site themselves, don't even understand the whole meaning behind those art and what is actually considered as offensive. Because in the first speech, our first speaker has mentioned really clearly what is actually considered offensive. Because, well, for some random people who don't have any knowledge in art, they may think this as offensive or thought-provoking or funny, etc. But for those who actually believes in art and who actually are interested in art themselves, they actually know the meaning behind those pieces of art. And whenever a piece of art is controversial and sparks a lot of debate, then we believe that there will be a lot of professionals who will come up and explain the meanings behind the art as well. And secondly, we want to ask a question. Who are the kind of people who go to museums in the first place? Who are the kinds of people who go to museums and look at paintings? We believe that there are two types. Those who actually care, which is the majority, which takes around 80%, and those who go just for fun, which is 20%. And one cannot say that every single art must be acceptable by every single people, because there are some art, which, let's take the example of the banana art, which the banana is taped on the wall, even though this is not something too offensive, but some think this is art and some think this has a lot of meanings behind this piece of art, but others think that this is simply just a banana and there's no true meaning behind this. Before I move on, I'll take that quickly. The same goes to parks as well, because we have clearly said that government are the ones who are behind this scheme, and as long as they're the one behind this, we believe that they are the ones who is capable of making the wise decision of what should go to art, and we believe that we have explained enough on who are the ones and how artists have intentions, and we'll go on further in our argument. So now coming to our argument is that we believe that censorship only leads to the limitation of creativity and the growth of art as a whole. Because first of all, what exactly is considered as offensive art to the public discourse? Not exactly something that is negative and contain harmful meanings, but more of something that is controversial and receive mass attention from the public. Something that sparks debate on what is right and what is wrong, and something that brings meaningful changes and reflects society can be controversial and offensive to many people. Like a picture on slavery, we believe that this is not something offensive to slaves themselves, but more on how this artist is super brave and is capable of showcasing how society is in the past and how people view slaves, or even some pictures of women and objectifying them. This is not to show that we're disrespecting against them, but this is more of an overview of the evolution of society, how society viewed them and their expectation. The mechanism here is that, first of all, the nature of art. We believe that the artist has their own principles and morals, right? And they should have the freedom to express themselves without fear of limitation and censorship. While some may find a piece of art offensive, others may not, and that is simply the nature of art. Some may find this super funny, some might find that this is serious. It is all the nature of art. And the most impactful art often actually challenges ideologies, intuitions, and actually make people think about this, just like the example that we give in the opening intro. We said about a very offensive art to many. Some might view this as inappropriate, which is the nude Maya. And we believe that this actually show how women are being depicted, how they're being marginalized against. And from this, a lot of women have stepped up and caused controversy from this piece of art. And many groundbreaking works as well, like our first speaker has mentioned, such as feminist art challenging or LGBTQ plus art confronting discrimination, have faced backlash but play an essential role in social change as a whole. And the government or art commission should not have the power to actually decide what is too offensive, but they have the power to decide what is the true meaning behind a piece of art. Like we said before, if I'm randomly creating a piece of art, even if it is meaningful, but I'm not that popular, my art will never be put in a museum or even in a park in the first place. And the impact of this is that this actually brings people to engage with different perspectives. So overall, we're very proud to oppose this motion today.